hearing. Anyone other than the applicant or their representative wishing to speak must register and submit a registration slip to the zoning administrator at this time. Following the hearing, we will conduct a monthly business meeting, at which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave following the hearing. The applicant and town board will be sent a copy of tonight's decisions. Any other person wishing to receive a copy of a decision can sign a sheet on a table at the front of the room. Those of you wishing immediate knowledge of the outcome of these proceedings may call the county zoning office tomorrow morning. The procedure we will follow for hearing each application is: after each application is read, the applicant, their agent, or representative will be asked to present their application, followed by any questions or comments from the committee. Then all correspondence will be read. Then any others in favor will have a chance to speak. Anyone objecting will have a chance to speak. Then I will ask for a summary of the committee's field observations and any comments. Finally, the applicant will be allowed a chance for a short rebuttal if they wish. There's more. Page 2. Anyone wishing to speak should use the microphone at the front of the room here, state their name, and direct their comments to the committee. Because of the number of applications, I am asking that all testimony be kept brief and to the point. The applicant will have 5 minutes to present information on their application other than questions from the committee. Anyone else wishing to speak should limit their testimony to 3 minutes, and any rebuttal by the applicant will also be limited to 3 minutes. If you are testifying as a nearby landowner, please tell us where your property is located relative to the subject property. Tonight's hearing will be recorded, and the recording will become part of the record. Comments that are based on hearsay or secondhand information, as well as slanderous or prejudicial remarks, will be ruled out of order. The committee has looked at all of the properties, and the record will reflect these observations. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this committee has 10 days from the filing of tonight's decision to make an appeal. Such appeals are heard by the Board of Adjustment. For information, and applications are available from the zoning office. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as to the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of this 10-day period. I will now introduce the committee. Mr. Bob Wadle, Jerry Rothermel, oh, no, Donna Collada.
Thank
I know
you.
the difference. It just, I didn't look. Ben, Mike Cap, and Mr. Russell Heisey.
No, that's not me either. That's Russell on there.
And I'm the chair, Fred Gellerup, and this is the zoning administrator, Terry Dopp Pockstadt. Is that right? Yep. Okay. The first application we're hearing tonight is a conditional use application for Douglas J. and Lori Kiava, Plainfield, Wisconsin. They have made an application for a conditional use in accordance with Section 58-454 of the Washoe County Zoning Code to establish an art, design, electronics, and renewable engineering consulting business utilizing an existing approximate 26 by 68, 1.5-story building on a proposed approximate 10.235 acre parcel of land in the AG General Agricultural Zone. The proposed approximate 10.235 acre parcel of land being part of Lot 1 of Certified Survey Map 6366 and a portion of Lot 3 of Certified Survey Map 6345, being part of the north 1/2 of the northwest 1/4 of Section 18, Town of Oasis, south of N6486, South Anua the applicant here? Would you please come up, and the microphone is right here on his stand, and we would like it if you talk right into it, sir.
Okay, my name is Doug Kiava. I'd just like to read a statement that I prepared. Oasis Green Technologies is an off-grid art and design studio that focuses on providing clients with functional art created from renewable energy. The 6-kilowatt wind turbine generates all of the energy required to run the business. Additionally, I provide electronics repair and develop electronic control and data logging for renewable off-grid power systems. As a function of the proposed land division, my business will now be located on a separate 10.235 acre parcel of land. The existing 26 by 68 foot building is used as an office and design studio on the lower level. And the upper level is used primarily as an electronics lab with an additional area of studio workspace. Half of the building on the lower level on the north side is designated for a woodworking shop. Also located on the property is a 30-foot by 60-foot pole frame building that is used for mechanical and metalworking, with an additional 20 by 30-foot pole framed addition for storage. I met with the Town of Oasis Board last month and presented the proposed certified survey map, land division, and outlined my business operation. And I have a written statement by the clerk indicating their approval. I'm asking the Waushara County Planning and Zoning Committee to approve my application for conditional use. Thank you. And this is what
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Now the committee will have some questions for you.
Okay.
Yes, it's me. Has there been a recent survey
Yes.
of the property? Then you do know where the lot lines all are?
Yes, that was done by Don Small of Lampert Lee and Associates.
Next question was describe your business, but I think you pretty much told us that in your summary. Why do you want the business on a separate parcel from the home?
The land division is so that I can sell the house on a separate piece of land.
Will there be any employees other than yourself?
No, it's a sole proprietor.
Okay. Will there be any traffic in and out, and what sort of parking will you need for the business?
The traffic in and out will be on a new driveway that was constructed on Anawa Road, and there is a graded area in front of the studio for any proposed clients that would visit the property.
Most of your contact, though, with the clients takes place off the premises?
Or by word of mouth or phone, and I meet with clients all over the place.
Is there an advertising sign being planned, and if so, what size will it be and where will it be located?
There is a 4x8 sign on Highway 73. It's an existing sign that's been there since 2005. It's a wood frame sign and currently has a banner applied to it.
Are you aware of the state building codes and other state requirements, and will you need to meet them?
Yes, the building is, as far as I know, is to code. It was built in 1999.
There's running water there and a new septic system to handle the wastewater, is that correct?
Yes, that was installed this year.
Are there any floor drains being planned in the shop buildings, and if there is, how will these wastes be disposed of?
No, there is no shop drains, anything like that.
Are any other additions or buildings being planned other than what you've indicated on the revised site plan?
No,
Will all activities be inside and no business or products stored outside?
that's correct.
And you said you did, we actually went out the proposed new driveway, so you are planning a new driveway?
Yes,
Will you need a new fire number?
yes, I will.
Are are you planning on a survey of the proposed parcel?
That's included. Uh, the 2 lots being generated, one for the house and one for the studio.
And then you know where the lot lines will be for that parcel that you're gonna section off?
Yes, the stakes are already in the ground.
If an approval is granted, when would you make any improvements that would be necessary to start your business or operation?
Not sure I understand the question. When would I,
Well, we noticed that you had, you showed us, actually opened the door and showed us, so that woodworking area, when
Right.
do you think that's gonna be done, or?
well, that's a work in progress. There's not a woodworking shop there yet.
I mean,
The floor is
6
being-
months?
Probably within the next, by the end of the year, that'll be completed, that part of the building.
Okay. And if approval is granted, when would you plan on starting your business or construction there?
Immediately.
Okay, that's all the questions I have. Any,
I would like to note that we didn't include that metal working shop in our original application. I think we kind of concentrated on the building that you had moved there rather than the building that existed on this proposed parcel. So if you did consider an approval, you should amend it to include that 30 by 60 metalworking shop too.
Yeah, that was the steel-sided building that you saw there, and then there was an additional wood-framed 20 by 30 that's attached to the east side.
And the 20 by 30 is for storage, right?
That's for storage,
So
yeah. That's,
it's the 30 by 60 that's for the
Right,
metalworking
right,
and mechanical, I think you said,
Right.
shop.
Are there any other questions? Okay, you could take your seat.
thank you.
Is there correspondence?
Yes, we got an email from DOT thanking Lindsay for sending the information to them, and it goes on to say we have no concerns, and that's from Kelly Nicholas, Access Management Coordinator, North Central Region, Wisconsin, DOT. And Doug handed me a note tonight. It says Town of Oasis Board Meeting on August 11th, a motion by Sean Tim to approve the Land Division Survey, second by Wayne Lauer, carried, and that's signed Vera Erdman, clerk. That's it for correspondence, and no one registered.
Okay. To speak in favor or opposed? Okay, or information. All right, then we come to staff comments.
Yep, for the record, the committee has previously been furnished with a copy of the site plan and all the other pertinent data for this and the other applications that they will be considering tonight. And I'd like to take a little bit of time to explain about conditional use permits. All defined zones have uses that are permitted outright, such as building a home in the residential zone, having a barn and farm animals in the agricultural zone. In addition, there are uses that may be permitted, provided certain conditions are met. And that's what we're looking at here, a use that may be permitted, provided that certain parameters can be complied with, so the use remains in keeping with the surrounding uses and area. Some examples of these are a dog kennel or unoccupied storage of a travel trailer on vacant property, or a home-based business in our rural areas. In some counties, these permits are called special exception permits. It is the landowner's responsibility to provide the information that shows the committee that this use is still in keeping with the zone and area it is proposed for, and that the conditions placed on it will ensure it will be a good neighbor to the surrounding landowners. When the committee visited the property, they noted that the buildings are not currently visible from the road, that the traffic is light on the town road, and that the visibility is good at the proposed driveway location. They also noted that there is room for parking, and that the applicant appears to have many unique interests and talents, and because of this, this will probably be a very diverse operation. I think this application is really pretty straightforward. The impacts from the things that the applicant is proposing are not noisy, dusty, odorous, otherwise offensive to surrounding property owners, and the traffic generated is going to be very light. The testimony of the applicant when we were at the property was that most contact with clients takes place off premises. They might come pick something up, but otherwise there really isn't a lot of client activity on the property. So I don't think it'll have a lot of impact. That's, it for my comments. He has a chance for a rebuttal if you wish.
The applicant, you have any need for a rebuttal? Okay, thank you. Second application is also in a conditional use, and Dana Eby? What?
EB, he says.
Eby, all right. Neshkora, Wisconsin has made application for a conditional use in accordance with sections 58-236, parentheses 22, and 58-454, parentheses 34, of the Washoe County zoning code to establish a home-based business of jam making, utilizing an existing 40 by 40 detached garage to be converted to a kitchen and storage and area, and a proposed 20 by 20 walk-in freezer in the AG General Agricultural Zone. Location is the approximate 7.5 acre parcel of land being part of the southwest 1/4 of the northeast 1/4 of section 27, town of Marion, N 687, County Road N. The applicant, want to come forward, please? Use this microphone right up here and mention your name first.
I am Dana Eby, and I'm here requesting a permit for a jam making business that we would like to take over from my wife's grandparents, Harvey and Marilyn Whitmer. We would like to move that from their property down to our place and establish it in our garage. Everything will be inside. Pretty much it.
Thank you, and I will ask you a few questions. Has there been a recent survey? Do you know where the lot lines are? Okay. Could you describe your proposed business? I think you probably described exactly what you were going to do, so. And I personally have the jam that they make, and it's very good. Will there be any employees outside the immediate family? Okay, what sort of traffic will there be, and what sort of parking do you think you will need?
Not aware that we're gonna need any parking other than a semi bringing in product to be used on occasion, and then like a straight truck hauling out. And we have a setup where they can back in the driveway, sit right on the driveway, be unloaded, and then exit.
Thank you. What about trucks? Well, you just explained trucks making deliveries or picking up finished products. How many do you anticipate, and how will they access your buildings?
And they're simply gonna back in, park, be loaded, and then leave.
Thank
What
you.
do those straight trucks do?
They will be picking up the main jam.
Okay.
Because I'm selling strictly to distributors. So it'll be refrigerated trucks, back in, take a couple pallets of jam and that we sell.
Is an advertising sign planned? Are you aware of the state building codes and other state requirements, and will they need to be met?
Yes, and I'm aware, to the best of my knowledge, working with that.
Have you talked to the state about the commercial kitchen requirements? you talked to the town board about this? There will be running water here with a new septic system to handle the wastewater, is that correct?
Yes,
Is this high-strength waste, and will it need special treatment apparatus to handle the wastewater generated?
we're not expecting so, but I do have my plumber testing that presently to verify yes or no. We're not anticipating that, but we are looking at that.
Are there any floor drains planned in the building, and if so, how will these wastes be disposed of? Are there, or are any other additions or buildings planned other than what you've indicated on the site plan?
No,
Will all activities be inside and no business or products stored outside?
no,
They won't all be inside, or they will be all
they'll all be
inside?
inside.
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Are you planning on a new driveway?
No,
Do you need a separate fire number for your business?
no,
If an approval is granted, when would you make any improvements necessary and start your operation?
not planning to. Should be self, that's all we need, the building.
Very good, thank you.
Don't you need to bring in the freezer?
Oh, yes, and that's on the 20 by 20 freezer.
No.
That we still are planning on, and that is in the plan.
Is that at the other location and you just need to move it, or is that a new?
No, it's a new,
New? Okay. And then, so when would you do that and then start making jam here?
okay, we would like to start making jam this fall, if possible. The freezer, I'm projecting to be built next spring.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone speaking?
Nope, we don't. You could probably have a seat if you want. Nope, no one registered to speak, and we don't have any correspondence.
Okay. And so staff comments, if you would.
Another conditional use. When the committee visited the property, they noted that there appears to be adequate room for this business in addition to the farming operation that is already taking place here. That the business itself is established and is being relocated from another location within the county, and that this appears to be another relatively low-impact operation, and all the sales are wholesale. And for my comments, I would just like to say the other operation was established in my tenure here. I can remember it. I don't know exactly when. And, you know, there's never been any complaints. It's never become an issue. So I don't foresee that there would be any problem just moving it to this location. That's it.
The next application is a zone change. James R. and Shelby Grassy. Of Fond du Lac have made application for a zone change in accordance with sections 58-131 through 138 and 58-511 through 514 for the Waushara County zoning code from an AGA, general agricultural, to an RS designation, single-family residential, to create a conforming residential lot. The location is an approximate .39 acre parcel of land previously known as Outlots 2, 3, and 4 of Certified Survey Map 1758, now known as Lot 1 of Certified Survey Map 6047. Section 8, Town of Marion, S, South, that is, Silver Lake Road. The applicant come forward, please.
One or both, don't matter.
We have some questions from the board.
Has there been a recent survey of the property?
Yes.
And you do know where the lot lines are? Okay. The lots in this area are serviced by municipal sewer, is that correct? Okay. Do you know why the lots were originally created?
Not really. I know there was, when we bought it, it was 3 different lots.
You don't know why they were?
Well, I know
trading
Right.
took place years ago. Okay. And obviously, they were all too small to be considered buildable, so they were created as outlots, is that correct?
Right.
You've been able to purchase these 3 outlots and combine them so that you can create a lot big enough to be considered buildable when it is serviced by the municipal sewer, is that correct? Okay. Have you reviewed this proposal with the town of Marion? Okay. And they had no concerns or, okay. Are you aware of the zone change process?
Part of it?
Okay.
Step one.
Yep. Are you aware of the uniform property addressing and driveway spacing requirements? No, the driveways, if you want to put a driveway in there,
Yeah. I don't know anything about it.
you'll have to check with zoning for that. I mean,
I
right,
think you're fine, but.
you're okay now, but I mean, if you want to do anything else there. Let's see, where am I? Proposed construction is a detached garage, and will it meet the setbacks from the road and the property lines?
Yes.
Will there be enough room for a home should someone want to construct one there in the future?
I would think so.
Do you plan on selling or transferring the ownership of this lot in the future? Stay in the family? Okay. All right, that's all questions we have for right now, so.
We have no correspondence and no one registered to speak.
All right, well then, make some comments, please.
Sure. So now I'm going to explain a little bit about zone changes, because we have several kinds of applications here tonight, and I think people should know what they are. There are several defined zones throughout the county. You're probably familiar with a few of the broad categories: agricultural, residential, commercial, industrial. In this particular instance, we're going to go from general agricultural to RS10, which is residential for sewered areas. Again, it's the landowner's responsibility to provide the information that shows the committee this change in the underlying zone will mean that the property is still in keeping with this area and that is not a detrimental change in the area, and that the resultant lots will be good neighbors and coincide peacefully with existing land uses. Keep in mind that a zone change is a permanent change to the property, and that by changing the zone, you are not only changing the minimum lot size, but also what may be permitted on the property. And because of this permanent change, the review standards are really quite high, and applications for zone changes are reviewed by 3 bodies. The first step is tonight, and after the public hearing, the Planning and Zoning Committee will formulate a recommendation on the application. That recommendation will go to the full County Board of Supervisors. And then the County Board of Supervisors will act on it, and then if it's approved at the first 2 steps, then it will go to the Town Board, where they will review the application as well. In order to change the zoning on the property, the application must be approved at all 3 levels of review, from committee to County Board to Town Board. When the committee visited the property, they noted that there appears to be adequate area meeting setbacks to build both a detached accessory structure and a home, and that the visibility on the town road was good, and that traffic was pretty light and slow on that road. As far as my comments go, and I think, you know, this is one where there's these 3 outlots. We're really not sure exactly where they came from. You know, now they've combined them together, and it's not quite enough area to become a residential RS20 lot for unsewered areas, because it's going to be like 17,000 some square feet, and we would need 20,000 square feet. But it's certainly adequate to be an RS10, which only requires 10,000 square feet for sewered areas. And we're going to take these 3 outlots that are unbuildable and make a buildable parcel out of them. And it's going to accommodate permitted uses that will meet setbacks. It's certainly in keeping with the other lots in the area. There are some back lots and certainly a lot of lots on Silver Lake. So I think it's really desirable, because we're going to get residential near other residential, and we're going to diminish some potential conflicts. Actually, the ag zone probably would have more potential conflicts with some of the surrounding properties than the residential. And that's it for my comments. I think it's a win-win.
concludes the applications.
unless the applicant has a rebuttal.
Oh, yes. Concludes the applications for the Planning and Zoning Committee, the Board of Adjustments Committee. Board of Adjustment Committee will move up here, and we'll be meeting in this room right around the corner.
So anyone that had an application heard by the Planning and Zoning Committee can go in the room to hear the decision if they would like. And then everybody else stay here because variances are up next.
Takes me a while to pick up.
You're doing things correctly. These other guys.
Yeah, I know. I'm going, I promise.
All set. I'll call this meeting of the Waushara County Board of Adjustments to order. This meeting will be conducted in the same manner as the applications heard by the Zoning Committee. Please remember to keep your comments brief and relative to the matter at hand. The same time limits will apply to testimony, which is 5 minutes for the applicant outside of the committee questions and 3 minutes for testimony, including any rebuttal by the applicant. Anyone other than the applicant or their representative wishing to speak at this hearing must have registered. Anyone who has not should do so immediately and submit the registration slip to the zoning administrator. The committee has looked at all the properties and the record will reflect these observations. Following the public hearing, the board will conduct its monthly business meeting, at which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay and hear how they're decided, or you may leave following the public hearing. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this committee has 10 days from the filing of tonight's decision to file an appeal. Such appeals are heard by the Waushara County Circuit Court. Information on the appeals is available from the Clerk of Court's office or qualified legal counsel. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of this 30-day period. I'll introduce the rest of the committee. To my left are Larry Tim, Kevin Fitzgerald, Mark Schumacher, John Benz, Ruth Sowski. Corp Counsel is on the end. My name is Roger Wagner. Terry Paukstedt, zoning administrators to my right. The first variance application to be heard tonight is Monty McCormick, Wild Rose, Wisconsin, made an application for a variance in accordance with section 58-232, paragraph 3 of the Waushara County Zoning Code to construct a 36 by 63 one-story storage building with a 10 by 63 covered open storage coming to a height of 22 feet, 18-foot maximum height allowed in the RS-20 residential single-family zone within the shoreland area. Location on approximately 1.5 acre parcel of land known as Lot 37 of the second addition to Gaz Lakeshore Plat, now vacated, Section 27, Town of Springwater, N North Wilson Lake Road. Is the applicant present? Come forward, please. State your name for the record, please.
It's Monty McCormick.
Okay, Mr. McCormick. Anything further to add? Otherwise, I've just got some general questions.
I don't think so. I think you've been out the property, and I think most of the information we gave you it's a pretty simple application.
Okay, just a few questions then for the record. Has there been a recent survey out there?
Hasn't been a recent survey, but it has been surveyed, and the stakes are all presently marked.
You know where the lot lines are then? Have you talked to the neighbors about this proposed project?
I have visited with most of them. I've had some good comments and some object to the building being built there. Paul to the west of me, I visited with him, talked to him about the height, and his comment to me was, well, I'm not sure I would appreciate that pole building being built there. But the rest of the neighbors that I've talked to personally have had no objections to it.
Okay. Do you feel there will be any potential for stormwater runoff there or erosion in that area?
Well, I don't know if you've been up there, but we put it up on top and flattened out the building as much as we could, and terraced it down so that all the runoff that's going to be there is going to stay on our lot.
Okay.
And we set it back from the west lot line, because Paul's house is probably the closest one to the building. His house is built very close to his lot line, but we held it back about 45 feet and kept most of the vegetation between the two so that we could get some separation there.
Okay. Is this going to be on a concrete slab or a dirt floor?
It'll be a concrete slab.
Okay. Any other improvements planned at this time?
Not right now. We live right across the street. We're down one lot. My wife built that house in 1977, so she's been a long time resident there. I'm pretty new. We've only been married a couple of years. So
Is that in a different name, the lot on the lake?
no, it's under our name now. It was Sherry Shar, but it's Monty and Sherry McCormick.
Okay.
Our records haven't caught up yet, so.
Okay. Well,
Pardon me?
Our records haven't caught up yet.
Okay.
when you come out of the driveway, there's a house right straight across the street. Then there's another cottage, and then
I noticed, at least when we drove in, that I think you had a name or something on by the road.
no, don't think so.
It's on the map, though,
Okay.
now that we know what the former name was.
Any other improvements planned at this time?
No.
Okay. And you said about 45 feet to the closest lot line?
Yes.
Okay.
The site plan shows 15 from the rear property line?
It shows that, but I think we're going to try to move the building ahead a little bit. The septic is going to be on the back, be on the northwest corner, and if we move it ahead a little bit, it'll be a little easier to, if we have to get a truck back there to clear the lot line. It's clear between the lot line and where the building's going to set, but I was looking at it, I thought 15 feet might be a little tight.
Okay. And how far do you think it will be then?
It's going to be between that and 20 feet. 20 feet would be about where we'd like to have it.
And that'd be the northeast corner of the building,
Northwest corner.
northwest corner. Okay.
Actually, it'd be the closest point to that lot line is going to be the east end of the building, but it's going to be closer to the northeast corner lot line, or northwest corner lot line.
Can you please describe to the committee what you plan on using the garage for?
Well, there's about a fourth of it's going to be a wood shop. I've always built furniture for my kids, and I've taken a hiatus the last few years because I had too many other things. But that'll be about a fourth of the building. There's probably another fourth is going to be just a mechanical shop because I work on my own vehicles. Then the reason we're putting in 13-foot high doors and a 14-foot high walls, I've had a motorhome. We just sold that one, but we're looking to buy another one. And it takes a 12.5-foot door clearance, so we're putting in 13-foot high doors. And then the rest of it is storage. We got all of our kids' things they can't store, we got.
It's going to be a one-story, though, or
Yes,
you're not going to have a loft or anything like
No,
that?
it's it's 14-foot high walls, but in order to get a motorhome in, it takes a 13-foot high door, so not going to be much room for second story.
Can you tell us when and where you use this motorhome?
The one that I had before, we used in a commercial business. We did trade shows all over the country, but the one that we're going to buy is going to be just personal use.
Okay. And you live in the home across the street then during the summer? Is that
We live there full-time.
full-time?
Yep.
You don't have any plans of living out of the mobile motorhome or anything like that?
Oh, no. I had enough of that. I had 6 years of that on the road, so.
Okay. You know, that would be a concern that the committee would have, that somebody would be living
Oh, no.
there in, or out of the motorhome, even on a temporary basis. That's,
No, it would be just for us to travel in. We're both retired and hopefully gonna have more time to play instead of work.
if an approval were granted, when do you plan on doing construction of the building?
Well, we've been working at this for about 2 years, and I said I wouldn't build it until we had the money to pay for it. Well, we've got the money now, but we've had a lot of problems trying to figure out how to fit it into all the building codes. So we'd probably start right away this fall.
Any more committee questions?
No, I guess when we looked at the property, I wasn't aware you lived across
Street.
the street, and my initial concern was, well, with the bathroom, are you gonna be living in the building? But after you explained it to us, I understand the situation.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have one question on the septic. Is where you're gonna move the building, is there enough room to get the septic field in there and your holding tank?
Yes, there's actually, it's been perked 3 different areas. In front of the building, right on top of where we put the driveway. It's been perked behind the building on the northeast corner, the northwest corner, and we were gonna perk it down the hill, but the guy said, I think we perked it enough. So it's been perked in 3 different areas.
Okay, thank you.
Any correspondence?
No correspondence. We did have one person register to speak.
Registered to speak in favor, Wendell Horst.
I'm here as the builder. He's been talking to me for quite some time. I forget exactly when, but I feel he wants to build a attractive building that'll fit well in the little lot there that he's got. And I think he has a justifiable reason for wanting a 14-foot ceiling, or which is a, what did he say, 22-foot peak height, I believe, and for his camper, which we want to store them inside so they aren't an eyesore. And I didn't have a lot to say. Guess if there's any questions, I'd be willing to answer.
What's the pitch on the roof? Is that 412?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a nice
Standard.
looking pitch.
Yep.
And another thing I thought about, it's really no higher than a 36 or 40-foot wide house with an 812 pitch with a 9-foot wall. It's going to be similar to the same height at the peak. So it's not really out of what would be an acceptable look.
Thank you. Staff comments?
For the record, the board has previously been furnished with a copy of the site plan and all the other data for this and the other applications that they're considering tonight. And they also visited all of the properties and viewed the proposals on site. I'd like to explain a little bit about variances. Do you feel like you're in zoning school? I hope not, but I hope it's helpful that you understand what the applications do entail. And this board is hearing all variances tonight. They asked for a relaxation of a dimensional standard in the code. The decision to grant a variance must be backed by substantive reasons, which include 1, that the code is unnecessarily burdensome, and the landowner is not able to enact a permitted use without a relaxation of the dimensional standard. 2, there are unique limitations on the property that prevent the landowner from meeting the required dimensional standard. And 3, if the variance is granted, no harm will be done to the public interest or the zoning code. It is the applicant's responsibility to present the case and provide the burden of proof as to why the variance should be granted. Personal situation of the applicant, financial hardship, convenience, a growing family, nearby violations, none of these can be considered as a valid reason to grant a variance. When the board visited this particular property, they noted that there were no other structures on the property right now. The proposed location will not be visible from the public road, and that the lands to the north are zoned AG or general other than that, I think everything's been addressed by the board, so.
Okay, thank you. Next variance, Todd R. Riley, Stevens Point, Wisconsin, has made an application for variance in accordance with section 58-235, paragraph A, paragraph 5, and 5B, the Washera County zoning code to construct a 15 by 28 two-story addition on a full basement and to raise the roof line and repitch, add dormer to a 22 by 24 portion of the existing dwelling to make a full second story, including interior remodeling exceeding 25% of the additions and repairs allowed on an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling, non-conforming due to side lot setback in the RS-20 residential single-family zone within the shoreland area. Location, a parcel of land known as Lot 10 of Clearview Plat, Section 7, Town of Marion, Silver Lake, W 7014 South Silver Lake Road. Is the applicant present? Todd R. Riley.
I was thinking there wasn't enough people here for our applications, so. But I wasn't sure who it was. Well, is there anyone here that was gonna speak to that application? I think we can move on and
Okay.
decide what to do with it later.
Next variance, Stephen G. and Janice H. Fry, Madison, Wisconsin, have made an application for a variance in accordance with section 58-235, paragraph A, paragraph 5A, and 58-823, paragraph C, paragraph 2 of the Washera County zoning code to construct a 14 by 16.4 foot one-story addition on a crawl space onto an existing dwelling exceeding maintenance and repair of an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling, non-conforming due to side lot setback on a non-conforming lot, non-conforming due to lot width and square footage in the RS-20 residential single-family zone within the shoreland area. Location, a parcel of land being part of Government Lot 1, also known as Lot 19, Section 26, Town of Springwater, Coosa Lake, W 5629 Springwater Drive. The applicant present? Come forward, please.
Good evening. I'm Steve Fry, and this is my wife Jan. On behalf of the two of us, we thank you for your consideration this evening of our application for variance. Also want to thank you for coming by on Monday to take a look at the property. Regrettably, I wasn't able to be a part of that, but I think Jan was able to answer hopefully most of the questions that you had. Just a couple comments. First, our place on Coosa Lake is a very special place for us. It's a place that my aged father and my son did a fair amount of the work on 10 years ago when we bought it. I've done projects with my 3 sons on it as well, and we've clearly had a lot of family gatherings there, and it's been a very special place. This evening we're here to really talk about what we're trying to propose, and on the site plan here, I just wanted to kind of reemphasize, Coosa Lake is down here. Here's the dwelling that exists right now. We're looking at adding on this portion on the back side away from the lake. And I would just mention as well, part of the reason it's so close here is the house was turned to be parallel to the lake. So when it got turned, those corners got very close to the side lot line. So it's clearly part of the challenge that we're facing here. If you just turn it around to the other side. Just the elevations that were part of the application. We worked very hard to kind of work with our architect to make sure that as we propose this, not only would it be functionally workable on the inside, but also that it would really blend in. We're looking at the same materials, the same log siding that's here would be in this area. It's the same height. We're trying to really make it look like it was part of the original construction originally on. So I want to share that with you. Just a couple of things. We have met with our adjacent neighbors, have talked to both of the immediate adjacent neighbors, and they understand and have been very supportive of what we're proposing to do. We also met with a neighbor that has access right away that gives us right away to get in because we wanted to talk about the construction activity that might be coming through, and he also was supportive and understanding of what we're proposing. So that was good. I also did talk to Everett Eckstein, Springwater Town Chairman, and Dale Rezebeck with the DNR, and they also seemed very supportive, and he was going to take it to the town to gain their approval this week. Also left several messages with Jeremy Gabori, Coastal Lake Association Chair, offering to answer any questions that he might have, and left messages but did not hear back from him. So I'm assuming that that was good. I know when you met with Jan on Monday, there were a couple questions, and just one that I wanted to really touch on. There was a question about, are we going to have gutters on this to provide any, prevent drainage from coming onto the site, and we will have gutters like we have on the rest of it all to take care of that. I guess in closing, we appreciate what you're trying to do. This is a special place for us. It's a place of beauty, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate that you're trying to preserve that, and therefore we're hopeful that as we're sharing what we're trying to accomplish here, that you see we're trying to observe and obey the same goals that you have for the property.
Okay, just a few general questions then for the record. Has there been a recent survey?
It was done about 3 years ago.
Do you know where all the lot lines are?
We do.
Okay.
Yep.
You said you're going to put gutters on the same as you have,
Correct.
and this will be on a crawl space?
Yes, it will.
You're going to be at the same grade you're at now, basically?
Correct.
Okay. And the roof line will just pitch the other way?
Correct. Yep.
Total finished height, do you have any idea what that's going to be?
Well, it's the same as inside, so it's an 8-foot clear. I mean, the ceiling height right now is 8 foot clear.
And with the pitch of the roof, you're going to be approximately?
Well, it's lower. The peak of the addition is probably 2 or 3 feet lower than the existing peak.
Okay, okay. Any other improvements planned at this time?
Well, we know that we need to replace the septic system because we're adding on, so that's going to go from 800-gallon tank to 1,200-gallon tank. We need to move the well to provide space for this to happen. I've got to move the generator to provide space for this, so there's a number of things I need to do to make this all happen. But those are
Gas line gotta get moved too?
It does, yep. I met with WE, the gas line people, and they've got a proposal to do that work as well.
All other setbacks will be met then, correct?
Yes, they will.
And you're
Yeah,
actually
we're
going farther away
further
from...
away than
yeah.
what it is.
Have you had a soil test for the new septic yet?
We have not.
Okay.
No, that'll be done.
Were you going to replace the field too, or just upgrade the tank size?
Not planning to. I met with John, the plumber from Wild Rose that would be doing the work, and he believes that the septic field as it exists would be adequate. He's going to confirm that as part of the application.
So you're hoping to just replace the tank
That is
itself?
correct. That's
Okay.
our intent right now.
Add a tank or?
Replace it. Replace it. Go from 800 to 1,200.
You've done a good job with your opening statement.
Oh, thank you. Answered some of your
Any other, and you're planning on construction when? This fall yet, or next spring?
Most of it's going to happen next spring. It's getting too late in the year to do it, so we're going to probably do the septic now and the well now to be ready next spring to actually start the construction.
Okay. Any other committee questions? Good.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any correspondence?
Yes, we have a letter in favor received on September 8th, addressed to the Board of Adjustments. This letter is in regard to the zoning variance application from Stephen and Janice Fry of Madison, Wisconsin. Their public hearing is scheduled for 9/15/16 at 7 p.m. Our home is adjacent to the Frys, directly to their east on Coosa Lake. Steve and Jan are good neighbors, always keeping their home neat and orderly. We feel their proposed 14 by 16 addition will be an improvement with no detrimental effect to our neighborhood. It will not be visible from the lake. We urge the Board of Adjustment to approve the requested variance. And that's signed Alan and Karen Rutten, Ruetten. And then on September 9th, we received an email addressed to Amy. We are in writing in regards to the variance requested by Steve and Janice Fry. They currently have a permanent generator located on their property. They are relocating this generator with the addition they are requesting. The generator runs every weekend to go through a test cycle. The generator gives off fumes when it goes through this cycle. If there is ever a power outage, this generator would run continuously to provide power for their cottage. That means fumes would be produced constantly. We are requesting that in approving the variance that a specific recommendation requirement be placed on the placement of this generator, that the exhaust side of the generator be a minimum of 10 feet from our bedroom windows. Those windows, which are on the northeast corner of our cottage, are a fresh air source for us. There are other codes that require exhaust venting be 10 feet from a fresh air source, and we believe this to be a similar situation. Please advise if there is any other information you might need from us to move forward with this request. We would like this request to be forwarded to the committee members to become part of their decision-making process. If you or any committee member needs to talk with us about this request, please use the below listed number. And that's signed, thank you, Pam, and Rick Grundman. Pam. Pam and Rick Grundman. G-R-U-N. G-R-U-N-D-M-A-N.
Don't see them on our map.
Oh yeah, another one we're probably not caught up on.
Who was the previous owner, do you know? Clavitt, okay.
Staff comments?
Sure.
Okay. No one registered. Staff comments?
No one registered. Got a tickle. Another variance. It's the applicant's responsibility to provide the proof. When the board visited the property, they noted that there are existing retaining walls between the home and the water, and there really wasn't a lot of vegetation in this area. And that land conservation staff could be utilized to plan for a vegetative buffer and to prescribe stormwater measures for the anticipated runoff. This is a case where, while it appears that the addition is relatively small, I think mitigation is something that should be considered. The existing structure does not meet both the required water setback and the side lot setback. And while the addition to the home is allowed by current shoreline zoning standards, the close proximity to the side lot lines and the increase in impervious surface on a slope towards the lake, there should be some measures required that will protect both the lake and the surrounding property owners. So I would encourage the board to look at mitigation in this case.
Applicant have anything in rebuttal?
Just to address the question about the generator, and just to clarify what's happening and where that's going to be located. And I'm sorry, the scale's a little bit small, but the generator would be located in this area. The neighbors that made the comment are located over here with their home over here. And the generator exhaust is going to go out the back, out this way, away from their addition, away from our home. And so the windows that they have are probably, and I did talk to them about this, we're probably 30 feet away. They had talked about 10 feet. We're going to be far in excess of that, far in excess of what the code requirements are, and blowing away from it. So I'm very confident that what we're doing will have no impact on them.
It's closer to them now and it's pointed in there.
It's actually in the same, it's probably, it's pointing, it's discharging that direction now. But by code, it's actually, I want to say it's like 5 feet, because our windows, the existing windows that we have are closer to that and are fine by code. We had checked that out, because we just had the generator installed a year ago.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Thank you.
Next one to be considered, Brian L. and Helen T. Beck, Poisippi, Wisconsin, have made an application for variance in accordance with section 58-826, paragraph E of the Waushara County zoning code to construct a 24 by 24 detached garage within the visual clearance of County Road H and State Road 49. 300-foot setback required in the RS-20 residential single-family zone within the shoreline area. Location, a parcel of land known as Lot 14, Block A, except for the west 10 feet of the Shivani addition to the Village of Poisippi plat, Section 7, Town of Poisippi, W 2326, County Road H. Brian, you want to come forward and tell us about your project?
Yeah, it's basically, I've got a lot of toys. You went out there, you probably saw the old truck getting done. Basically, it's not going to have power in it. It's just going to be storage for my trucks and my van. It's only 8 foot high. We're just making a regular garage, just like I said, to keep my toys in, maybe a four-wheeler. It's not going to be worked out of. Like I said, I think you had just 2 8-foot doors is all it's going to be on it. By 7, so there's not really room to put a whole lot else into it. But we were hoping just to put the 2 trucks in it, maybe the van once in a while, and a four-wheeler. So that's really about it.
Brian, can you give us kind of the history of that lot as far as the home and the fire and?
Yeah, that was a tragedy. Actually, we discovered that fire. That was a bad one. Actually, the lady at the gas station called me. Yeah, and that was one of the most beautiful houses in town. That lot was all land and stone house. I did a lot of work in that place, and it was just a goofy bird's nest that started on fire from a halogen light. Took it down, so that lot was empty for 7 years. I think it is now. Almost 8 years. I've had it for 3. It's my 3rd year. And the people who had it at the time, the Arndts, were really hoping they'd rebuild on that lot. And the actual house was actually 40 feet farther into the line of sight. Where the garage is proposed now, where the slab is, the house is actually to the east of that. So, and I don't believe there was ever really an accident there from a line of sight problem to begin with, from that original house. Because it's a T section anywhere, so they have to stop. So it isn't like they're going to go through a rolling stop on that intersection. So I bought the lot because I got tired of watching the grass grow. They're mowing it. They were doing a pretty good job, and we put a garden on it now in the lot, and we just figured it'd be a good spot. Plus, also has a great well on it. If we ever have to use a well, get another well for the place, our place, ours is a point. And actually, at the time when we bought, that was the intention, was to get that well, because the well was only 2 years old at the time that house burnt down, brand new, and it's an artesian 6-inch. So it's a great well. We really wanted it for that. What I paid for the lot was actually half of what that well cost. So it was a good investment. But so now we've got a lot of room with our toys, and basically there's like $8,000 of concrete work there right now. When you saw the driveway, it's a really well-designed driveway with a great runoff on the side, and the slab is really good. That was redone by Steve Young years ago, so that's great. We just figured instead of letting a bare slab sit there, let's put a garage up and kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
It's a long driveway, you won't have to back out to the road, will you?
Actually, that
You be able to
driveway's so
turn
wide,
around?
I turn back and do a Y turn.
Okay.
It's actually wider than my driveway, my house right beside. By
So
20
who
feet.
took the garage down?
Was that?
The garage didn't burn down.
I know. I don't know why they took the garage down. I really don't. They had some really bad advice from an insurance company, and they were told by contractors, hey, leave a couple of walls up, we can, redo it. And they took it down, and they told them that lot was worth like $20,000, the insurance company. That's what they allowed them on their settlement. And you can tell by what it went for that they sat out for 7 years, and they couldn't get anybody to buy that lot. Because of the line of sight rule, I think, if the house foundation was still up and they built on that right away, that lot was worth a fortune. But now the line of sight rule comes into play, and it's been over a year since, I guess, that the foundation goes down. You have to, if you don't get a land use permit within a year to build it or something, I think that's what they fell apart. They took some bad advice from some people.
So if the garage would have burned down, you wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
But it got tore down.
Yeah, tore down.
That's why you're here. Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions for Brian? Thank you. Can I have a chair? Well, you better come back. We got some general questions yet we better answer. You have surveyed everything out there, correct?
Well, that was surveyed a few years ago, yes, but we know where the lot lines are.
Yep, you're sure of the right of way.
Mhm.
And have you talked to the county and the state highway folks?
Yep, I do believe he has a letter.
County does.
The county has a letter, yep.
And you're gonna use the existing foundation, no filling or grading?
No digging whatsoever.
Any other improvements planned at this time?
No, just the garage itself, that's it.
All other setbacks will be met?
Yep.
And you said you got enough room to turn around without backing out onto the road?
Oh, yeah, it's a nice driveway.
And if an approval were granted, when would you start construction?
I don't know if I'm gonna get somebody this year to put it up. Jerry's kinda tied up on me right now, so probably be early spring. We'll probably
Okay.
put it up.
What do you get the finished height in the record?
8-foot, ceiling, yeah, 8-foot ceiling height is with a 412 pitch. So it's gonna be what? 15 feet in that ball. I think 12 to 13 feet is what it's gonna be with the 12-4 pitch. Yeah, we're not building it any higher than we have to.
Any other committee questions? Thanks, Brian. Correspondence?
Yes, we do. We received an email from Brian Frymark, the County Highway Commissioner, addressed to Lindsay. This email is in response to Brian Beck from Poisippi calling the Highway Department in regards to constructing a garage at W2326 County Road H. It is Highway's understanding that there was a garage there at one time, along with a house that burned down. The question he had concerned vision corners at the reduced speeds of 35 miles per hour and the fact that there is a stop sign at the intersection of Highway 49 and County Road H. Highway does not have any issues with the request to construct a garage. There's also a letter from the town of Poisippi dated August 15th to the Waushara County Zoning Committee. I met with Brian Beck to view the site where he would like to build a storage building on his property at the corner of County Road H and State Highway 49. The town of Poisippi has no problem with granting him a permit to build on the location as proposed by Mr. Beck. And that's signed Larry Albright, Chairman, Town of Poisippi. Sometime, August 29th, I guess, we received an email. August 31st, we received an email from Kelly Nicholas of Wisconsin DOT, and it says, "Thanks, Lindsay, for sending this information to us. We have no concerns." And we also, on September 6th, received a letter from Gary Albright at W2340 County Road H to the Waushara County Board of Adjustments. It says, "Our home is west of and adjacent to the residence of Brian and Helen Beck. We will be unable to attend the subject hearing, but wish to make our positions clear in the proposed matter of a variance to permit construction of a 24 by 24 detached garage on premises described in said notice. We have no objections to this variance and wish the Becks success in this hearing." And again, that was Gary Albright.
And we have registered to speak in opposition, Joe Schneider.
Joe Schneider. I am the owner of the home directly next to this piece of property we're talking about. I am the only other landowner that is directly next to this piece of property. It is in my line of sight and pretty much in my backyard. My concerns are what this proposed building is going to be. And I think my question was answered several times. One was storage. Another was a place for my toys. And it could be plenty other things. But that all leads to clutter, and it's a garage standing completely by itself and of itself with no home in it. And that is not going to add value to my home, make my home sellable, marketable. It will just, in my opinion, will bring down the value of my home. So that's what I have to say.
Do you have any idea what the footage from the back of the garage is to your lot?
Probably about 15 to 20 feet tops.
Okay.
Foundation?
Yeah, you'll have, no,
You'll-
just,
You'll have a chance
just
for
talk to us.
rebuttal.
You're about 15 to 20 feet, you feel, from the back of the garage
From the back of the garage.
to your lot line.
From the foundation, yes.
Were you the owner
house burned down?
Yes,
So you were there when the garage was still standing?
yes. I don't know if with all the smoke damage and everything that it could have been saved, and I don't think it could have been. And I'm a contractor as well as, and Brian's a plumber, and it's another thing that it's hard for me to believe that building that he's proposing will not be, in one way or another, used in his business, which I completely understand, but I don't want to permit that next to my house and in my backyard.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Schneider?
Do you realize that if the variance would be denied, he could still build on the property, he just would have to build either further west or further north, which would put the building closer to your property than what he's asking
He can't
for?
go further north.
Well, he can go west.
Go west, which would be closer to his home, which would make more sense for a garage.
And he could also
Which would
go,
make more sense.
and I believe he could go 7.5 feet from the property line, correct, Terry?
Correct.
So that would put him closer to your lot line, you know.
Okay, but he could go west. And actually, practicality would say if he needed a garage and would like a garage, it would fit him better if it was closer to his home. He wouldn't have to, I don't understand how he's gonna get there and back by foot, going across all that, especially in the winter. So I don't think there's a practicality to it, other than the fact that there is a foundation there, of which I'm not so sure what, I know the concrete is fine, everything's fine, but that's the only reason. And when there was a house there, when everything, that was fine. That was fine.
I guess
But a freestanding garage lends itself to be exactly what he's talking about.
the only point I wanted to make here, the question before the board is not whether or not he can build a garage. It's where he can build a garage.
Okay.
Okay, and so your concern, you said, with a separate freestanding building and clutter.
Well, my concerns is for the purpose of this garage, which should be part of your decision-making process.
Well,
too.
it isn't.
It
Because
isn't?
it's the location.
Oh, okay.
It's not the use. Okay, it's the location. Okay.
But
Correct, Terry?
my concerns, I directed my concerns in my regard that I don't think it would be profitable, or I think it would be detrimental to me to have it built. And that's what I'm here for.
We understand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Staff comments?
When the board visited the property, they noted that there are no other structures on the parcel at this time, so there are no nonconforming structures present. The speed limit in this area is 30 miles per hour with a stop sign at the intersection. I was just going to reiterate that there is a provision in the statutes that if a structure is damaged or destroyed by a natural disaster or fire, the structure can be replaced to the same size, location, and use that it had prior to the destruction. In this case, the home burned down, but the garage was saved and then torn down later, so it doesn't qualify for that, and that's why there's the need for the variance. I think this particular construction, maybe in direct contrast to what Mr. Schneider just testified, will actually be better than what was there before. And it still leaves reasonable room for a home should this or future landowners want to build on this parcel in the future. You know, I can see that if this is the garage, the home on this parcel would go to the west and to the north. And so that is preserving that area out of the visual clearance. That's it for my comments.
Anything in rebuttal, Brian? Come on up.
So I do know a little bit about the code on wells, and the well is behind the garage, okay? The well casing from his lot line is in excess of 20 feet. So it isn't 15 feet. And the well casing, where that barrel is behind the garage, that's where the well casing is. That's another 15 feet to 20 feet off that garage slab. So we're talking 40 feet. It isn't that close. Okay? And I do have a drawing here that actually was done, if you wanted to see basically the lots and the plot lines from overhead, if you want to see that.
Yeah, we've got those.
Do you have it? Okay. All right. Yeah, so the 15-foot rule is, and actually it is kind of, I'm just trying to save the cost of the concrete.
Oh, yeah.
If I do build on that, and if I can't build on that, I will go back, and actually it will be closer to his lot then. If I do build a garage, I won't build a 24 by 24, then I'll probably build a bigger one. Probably a 30 by 24. You know, but I have the slab there, so I was just going to utilize what I had. That's what we're going to do. Thank you.
Okay, the next variance to be considered, Jeffrey W. and Tamara A. Horton, Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, and made an application for variance in accordance with section 58-823, paragraph C, paragraph 2 of the Waushara County zoning code to construct a 24 by 38 one-story single-family dwelling with a loft and exposed basement with an approximate 10 by 30 and a 6 by 19-foot attached decks, existing single-family dwelling with approximate 10 by 30 existing single-family dwelling to be raised on a non-conforming lot in RS-20 single-family residential zone within the shoreline area. Location and parcel of land known as Lot 1 of Norquest Fish Lake subdivision, Section 13, Town of Hancock, Fish Lake, N4008 Forest Drive. The applicant present? Come forward, please. State your name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Horton.
And anything to add at this time, Jeff, or we have some general questions?
I can take general questions. I don't have nothing to add.
Okay.
Yes, you can, John.
Okay, state your name.
I'm John Dix from Watoma, Wausau Home Builder for Jeff and Ken.
I didn't catch the last name.
Dix. And it's a pre-existing lot that isn't meeting the minimum standards for the lots that are established today, which is 65 feet. This is a 60-foot wide lot. The dwelling that was previously demolished was non-compliant. It was encroaching on side setbacks. The new dwelling is now in place to meeting all the setbacks of the road, both sides of the home, and the average setback from the ordinary high water mark, which is 67 feet for the deck and 77 feet for the house. And the deck combined with the house, it's a foot beyond to the existing line where the 67 feet and the 77 feet would be. So the home is now in compliance compared to what was previously in place. There will be some boulder retaining walls there, which will have felt protection under the boulders. Nothing will encroach the setbacks established by the ordinary high water mark on the lakeside nor on the east side of the property. There will be gutters and downspouts on the home. Pretty much about that aspect of it.
Okay, just some general questions then. Has there been a recent survey, and are you sure of the lot lines?
Property was surveyed approximately 7 years ago. Is that when you bought the property?
Correct.
And we had, before the home was built, we had point of beginning surveyors out of Stevens Point, and they actually went in and staked out the house, off-staked it so that when the basement was dug, it was already staked in the basement. So the dimensions are spot on, correct.
Okay, have you talked to the neighbors, the Lake Association, Greenwood Acres property owners, and the town board about the project?
I have not.
I've only talked to the one neighbor closest to me, and that's it.
Any response that you can tell us from him?
They were fine with it, so no response.
And the property on the other side, there really isn't anybody there. It's common own area for the Greenwood
Acres type estates, yeah.
Yep. So you talked to the property owner to the west of you?
Correct.
And what type of foundation is the home?
Board.
Okay. And about how far above the existing grade is the first floor elevation? total finished height?
Approximately 30 feet.
Okay. And you're gonna be dealing with stormwater runoff, and potential erosion, gutters, downspouts?
Correct.
All of the above. And all other setbacks will be met?
Correct, yes.
What about the septic system out there?
That'll be placed on the, I guess, the neighbor side, that's closest to me, and in front of the house,
Okay.
going down, parallel with the lot line.
You planning any garage in the future?
The garage is already there.
Garage is there.
That meets all the present setbacks too.
So you're gonna use the existing garage?
Correct.
Gotcha.
You had the septic staked out when we were there, correct?
Yes.
Yep. And that meets all the proper setbacks.
Have you thought about removing or altering any of the structures down by the water and restoring the shoreland?
Nothing with taking down or anything of the buildings by the lake, but we would be willing to do restoring of some of the vegetation area to.
Okay. Any other committee questions? Guess we don't have to ask when you're gonna start the project if it's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Correspondence,
No correspondence, no one registered.
staff comments?
Oh, wait, I need to back up. John Cirk did tell us, he serves on both the Greenwood Acres Property Owners Association, and he is in the
Lake Management
Lake
District.
Management District, and he said both of them had discussed this project and didn't have any issues. So,
Staff comments?
another variance. When the board visited the property, they noted that the existing boathouse does not conform to current construction standards, and that there are non-conforming retaining walls and in-ground stairs here, and that all lot lines were located prior to construction. I think this is a rather unique situation, and I don't say that just because we already issued the permit, because we didn't realize the lot wasn't wide enough when we did it. All the dimensions on the lot were at a diagonal, and it said it was 75 feet wide, and it took some real figuring out to figure that the actual width of the lot was not anywhere near what it needed to be. So we actually issued the permit, and construction had started before we had to contact them and go, wait, I think we made a mistake and we need to back up and get this straightened out. So the home meets all the applicable setbacks. Quite often when we have a lot that isn't wide enough, they don't meet those side lot setbacks. It has quite a bit of depth, so it meets the water setback, the road setback, has room for the septic, all that. But our code says that you need a variance to build the principal structure on a property when it's not at least 65 feet wide. This is something that I view as a pretty minimal variance request, and I do feel that any mitigation required should be, and I've been working on saying this word all week, John, commensurate with the construction. You know, it has to be related. It should be related to the variance request, and it should be measurable as far as the variance goes. If it's a smaller variance request, you do less mitigation than if it's asking for a lot. So this is one that I think kind of got to think about what mitigation should be if you grant it. Erosion control measures certainly are in order here. It is a steep slope. It's very sandy going to the lake. Stormwater management after construction is something that I think should be considered. There was a pretty deep gully on the Greenwood Acres parcel, so there has been some erosion there in the past, even though that was vegetated. And restoring the vegetation is always a good idea for all of those reasons. So that is it for my comments.
Okay. Last variance to be considered tonight, Joan A. Olson, Watoma, Wisconsin, has made an application for a variance in accordance with section 58-235, paragraph B, paragraph 1, and 58-235, paragraph A, paragraph 5, Washera County zoning code to construct an approximate 4 by 6 foot, one-story addition on a slab attaching an approximate 32 by 70 structure located 35 feet from the ordinary high water mark of Porter's Lake, 41-foot average setback required to an existing dwelling exceeding maintenance, repair, and additions to an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling, non-conforming due to ordinary high water mark and side yard setback in the AG General Agricultural Zone within the shoreland area. Location, an approximate 1.66 acre parcel of land known as Lot 1, certified survey map number 5170 with interest in private road, section 29, Town of Mount Morris, Porter's Lake, N 3255 Shanahan Lane. And Joan is present. Do you have anything further to add at this time?
Just a couple comments, and I'll make it brief. One, because I think my leg fell asleep as of the last applicant tonight, and I appreciate your time. The average setback, as I understand it, is 41 feet. The proposed construction actually will be 43 feet. I did put copies of these pictures with my application. This is the area that I hope to replace. My father and I built this so that I could actually pass from one side to the other when there was snow and ice coming through, and tried to minimize the wind and such coming off the lake. I did create the certified survey map. It is part of Shanahan Resort plat. The original plat, I had lots 5, 6, 7, and part of lot 4. And there was approximately a 1.5 lots that would have been buildable, and I could have sold off and had another house built closer to the Okowitz property, which I chose not to do. One, out of fairness to my neighbor, it would have almost completely blocked their view of the lake, or at least a good portion of their view of the lake. Because it is a certified survey map, I cannot now, obviously, as you know, subdivide that, nor is that my intention. I would like to create what I think is a unique situation of the original structures that were there by not further encroaching on the lake, but actually attaching the two structures as a single-family residence. The assessor for the town of Mount Morris actually recognizes it as a single-family resident. I think the map that was given to our zoning office had it all connected, which it isn't. I have sent notice to our Porter's Lake Association. We had our meeting actually before I considered this application being filed, so it was not part of their agenda, but I did contact our 3 officers. I sent a copy of the application as well as a letter of explanation to the town of Mount Morris, and did attend their meeting on September 13th. They were in favor of the application. They actually feel that it would effectively join my property as a single-family residence. I don't believe it's going to encroach upon the lake. As I mentioned, it actually is a 43-foot setback. It will not create any additional impervious, that's my word for tonight, Terry, impervious surfaces. It actually will have its own gutter system that will connect to the sunroom, and all runoff will go away from the lake. It is my intention to work with the DNR with regard to riprap. I have quite a bit of muskrat runs that run along the shoreline there, along what had been the Weingard property, down around to the island. And I would like to have a natural continuation of a natural buffer, but also working to shore up that shoreline so that the runs don't continue. Still making a home for the muskrat, but not too close to my house. So, as you mentioned, the certified survey map is 1.66 acres, so I do feel that this additional construction project, that the property can more than support the overall structure that will be there. It's a good-sized lot.
Just a few general questions then for the record. You're sure the lot lines and the ordinary high water mark? Okay. And you're going to use the existing foundation that's there, correct?
I'm working with Tunderland Builders, obviously contingent upon this approval, and they have some concerns with regard to the slab that is there, because I did not connect it to either side, the sunroom or to my home. So I think it's very solid, because I actually helped for it, but they might have to remove it, but the stamp will be exactly the same the way it is, and it might just have to be pinned to both sides.
And then as far as you're concerned, we're concerned, this is going to be a single-family dwelling and not a duplex.
Absolutely. There's actually no kitchen on what I affectionately call Sybil's side, was the Weingard property. That was removed long ago when I purchased that property. It'll never be a duplex, not during my lifetime.
Any other improvements planned at this time? Does your existing home meet the side lot setback to the north?
I believe it does.
portion rather of the Shanahan Resort Plat is still agricultural, even though many of the lots have been developed as residential. But I do believe that that side deck on the north side of my property does meet the setback.
Okay. Then all other setbacks will be met, is that correct?
Absolutely.
What about the septic system? Are there one or two there?
I was required to have two separate septics. Sybil's had her septic, which is fairly new, and mine was replaced, I believe it was in 2004, went to a concrete tank.
So they both meet code? Uh, Have you thought about removing any of the structures down by the water, including the retaining wall, or restoring the shoreline vegetation?
The shoreline vegetation, yes. The retaining wall, no. That was existing. Mr. Weingart actually built that, and I'm kind of fond of it. And plus, I think there'd be a lot of erosion if I took it down. But it's definitely the shoreline, yes, and natural vegetation that would be native to the area I'd like to put in with the permission of the DNR and the riprap program.
Okay. If an approval were granted, when would you start this construction project?
It's possible, if approval is granted, that Tenderloin could still start the project at this fall.
Any other committee questions?
2 fire numbers or 1 fire number for both structures?
I have 2 fire numbers. It's my understanding I could not abandon 1 fire number because Sybil's house was N3251 and I was N3255. I'll do whatever is required now. But yeah, that's why I have 2 fire numbers.
asking.
Yeah, that's why I have 2 fire numbers. It's my understanding I could not abandon 1.
Any other committee questions?
What is the requirement on a situation like this on fire numbers?
Each principal structure should have one.
What?
Each principal structure should have one. So if you have 2 homes, you have,
But if you made it into one?
if you make it into one, it's going to be one. And it's going to be based on the driveway location. So your address may change if it was,
Do you just have one driveway or 2?
The driveway has been combined now because I was getting so much runoff from the Fisher home as well as Shanahan Lane that my driveway was probably washed out 4 or 5 times.
Traditionally, the fire numbers are assigned based on the driveway location, so unless the fire department or the township would have a big problem with it, I think she could probably just get by with one fire
yeah.
number.
Yeah, and like I said, it would be based on the drive. I had a hard time pulling into the right driveway because I was used to the old one, and you have kind of abandoned that one and use.
Glad I put the fence post back up because you would have went right into it.
We saw those.
That's fairly new.
It was a really big van. I wasn't going to try.
That's the retaining wall is fairly new, and I haven't finished that project, but that's why those fence posts were there. They're not going to be permanent.
I have one more thing. Alongside between the house and the shoreline, I think it's on the north side. You put some new timbers in with gravel in as a walkway by your front door.
Yes.
That within the shoreline area.
I'm not sure. I put them in because the hill was eroding there. Certainly can remove anything that is too close to the ordinary high water marker within the setback.
We've got a wonderful land conservation department that give you a lot of information.
I did have Tom Litwin out there, and that's why to the north, I did do the dry bed that I installed personally as far as with the gravel and that to help with some of the runoff from Fishers.
It's definitely a unique property. Beautiful.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Correspondence?
Yes, we have a letter received on September 9th addressed to the Waushara County Board of Adjustment. I hope this letter will show our interest in our neighbor Joan Olson's application for a variance in accordance with sections 58-235B1 and 58-235A5B. We have no objection and would hope that the Waushara County Zoning Office will approve her application. Joan is a wonderful neighbor, and that's signed sincerely John and Helen Fisher. Then on September 8th, we received a letter from Richard Hansen to the Waushara County Board of Adjustments. Dear Waushara County Board of Adjustment, I am writing you regarding the Joan A. Olson variance request. Were it not that I will be traveling on September 15th, I would attend your meeting in person. I am a permanent Waushara County resident, my home located at N3303 Shanahan Lane. I also own a home at N3267 Shanahan Lane and the land adjacent to the east edge of Joan's property. I wish to express my strong, favorable support of Joan's request. This variance will not change how the home is used now or in the future. This variance will permanently enhance the value of said property. This variance will have no negative impact on Porter's Lake or neighboring properties. Thank you in advance for your favorable consideration. And that's sincerely Richard A. Hansen. And finally, on September 14th, addressed to the Waushara County Zoning Administrator, we received a letter from Alan Anderson, Clerk, Town of Mount Morris. To whom it may concern, at the 9/13/2016 Mount Morris Town Board meeting, a motion was made and carried to approve and support the application of Joan Olson for a variance on her property on Porter's Lake in the Town of Mount Morris. The Town Board endorses and supports the approval of the variance request. If you have any questions about this matter, please feel free to contact me. And again, that was Alan Anderson, the clerk for the Town of Mount Morris.
Okay, that closes the public hearing then for,
You're gonna let me talk. You're gonna cut me off.
talking all night. What do you got different to say about this one?
I'm gonna keep it short like Joan did. When the board visited the property, they noted that the retaining wall lakeward of the proposed addition is non-conforming and that the retaining wall could be screened with vegetation, so it was not as visible from the lake. They also noted that there are a few landscape timber stairs on the north end of the property, northwest maybe it is, and that the addition would not increase the impervious surface area already on the lot. This is another case where I think the mitigation should be related and commensurate. I'm working on saying it twice in one night, with the variance being asked for. This is a shoreline variance as well as a general zoning variance, so protection of the lake, surrounding properties, and zoning codes are all in play here. And while the new construction is really quite small, the addition to the existing home is rather large because you're taking the old home and adding it to another home, so I think you need to take all that into consideration. You also have to remember that we're going to take two homes and make it into one, which is less density and probably less impacts on the lake too. So there's kind of a lot to juggle there. But this one I think is a bigger variance to ask for because of that close proximity to the lake. The other home doesn't meet the setbacks to the lake either, so it can't be done under current shoreland zoning rules. So it's both a general zoning and a shoreline zoning variance. But that's it for my comments.
Okay, that closes the public hearing then. We'll go right into our business meeting. We have an amended agenda tonight.